Alright, so I'll show you some exercises for the back and for just generally stretching the whole body. It's based on yoga. So first you can go into plank where you activate your core. Go to downward dog. You push your heels to the floor. From there, then come up again to the front. Knees down, untuck your toes. Going down, shoulders rolling back. Activate your shoulder blades. Then you can go into child's pose. Stretch your arms, your back. From there, you can just quite simply step forward, opening up the hip, pushing your knee out. You can even open up your foot a little bit more out, and then bring your chest down. That will open your groin, inner hip. Then from there you can just pull back and open up your hamstring. So if your knee doesn't want to stretch, if it's kind of bent, just find a comfortable stretch here. Also make sure the back is as flat as you can, which will increase the stretch on your hamstring. So from there, I'll show just one side so you don't spend twice as much time. Then you go into a glute stretch. So from here, pigeon pose from yoga, or we call it swan pose in body balance, and your other knee is far back, so you are able to drop this hip down. And this is really good one for the back issues. Many times it is the glutes that are very tight, and as a bonus you can add the quad stretch. That will be very favorite stretch of mine, and you pull it here and hold it, because the glutes and quads are now releasing together. You can even pull down together like so, because now you can pull down towards your hip and releasing quads in the same time. So that's some of those that I use quite a lot, but you can use some sort of twists as well. And when you go into something like this, you cross over, pull in. It's actually quite good here for the glutes. And then as you twist, you get the spinal release looking far behind you. Now let's try some release techniques for your back. So imagine your back is sore from, I don't know, having bad posture, sitting whole day. So you can start like this, quite simply. Roll yourself to the lower back. Make sure you don't collapse over it. So you keep sort of crunch, so you don't collapse unless you want to. And then you can just relax on it. Then you can choose to lean on one side and or on the other side. So really be intuitive and see where the tension is held. So you want to find the sensitive spots. Then you can roll a little bit higher and releasing the back, or even all the way up. Sometimes I like opening my arms because it opens up different muscles in your back, or this way or this way. So that's why I'm saying intuitively try to open up the muscles that you want to stretch and release. So you always get a little deeper if you stretch the area. And then sometimes it's back of the ribs, very tight on your back, and sometimes it could be lats. So plenty of options of where to release. Whoa! And if you do it every so often and cover the major muscle groups, you're gonna find out exactly where the problems are, and just working on those mainly. Now for the glutes and for the knee pain, let's cover a couple of these. So for glutes, you can just quite simply roll on one side, and they're just kind of rolling almost towards the lower back. So you need to find, where to go, or even sort of under the sit bone, close to the hamstring. And this one is really, really intense. Can be when you cross over. So now we're stretching this hip. You lean on it, and now you can find much deeper release. And also try not to resist the stretch and release. Try to relax it. Try not to tense. That's the main key. Because sometimes when you just let go, relax your muscles, you can actually feel it's working better, working harder. Then you can travel to hamstring. You can roll like this. If it doesn't feel much, you can put two legs over one. Yeah. Then you have your IT band. You can just kind of get a good level here from just getting a slightly different angle from under, and then a little bit more from over on the side. Then obviously have your quadriceps, so I'm gonna show on this leg. You go just above the knee. You can break it down to the first third, the mid third, yeah, and then the very top. You travel a little bit with it and see where you're tight. So then you have your hip flexors here, this way, and then you have this outside of your hip. So you rotate yourself in a direction. Just try to find where you would need it, where the muscles are tight. So this can be very tight here, but it really depends on you. Then your inner thigh, so your first the vastus medialis, you can just quite simply put the pressure down like this and see if there's anything. Quite deep stretch as well with it. Okay, wow. All right. Then you have your ankle, so you can start from very bottom of the calf, then you can travel a little bit higher towards the mid of the calf, and then a little bit higher, and also with rotating slightly outwards or inwards, so all of these. And then quite often neglected could be the shin, where you just lean on the leg and see. Even here at the very bottom, sometimes I feel quite tension, and that could ease up the tendons in your foot. So a lot of these problems can be solved with rolling. Okay, rolling or a sports massage, and then when you combine it with stretching, you can either do stretch on your own. You can find a lot of videos on the internet on how to stretch. You can come to our classes here in the Westwood Club in Sunnymount or any of our clubs, and we have a really great class that covers all of these stretches in one, together with some strengthening as well. Bang. So these are just the exercises for your hip stabilizers. So the first one is gonna be Bosu ball, and the second one will be some lateral movements with the resistance band or tube. So these are a great support for your hip and your lower back, for your knee and your ankle. So when we talk about the knee problems or back problems, I really find these very useful, and I would definitely implement it into your training. Alright, there's something else that I wanted to show you. It is a Bosu ball. So in here, when you stand on a Bosu ball, you're gonna quite quickly recognize how good are your stabilizers. So first you step up. I've been practicing a little bit, but I see a lot of people doing this quite often when they have weak hip stabilizers from inside and outside of the hip. So when the knee kind of can wobble in and out, you know, so it's very much multiplying all these weaknesses and imbalances. So one of the simplest things, if you have this in your gym, or you can try it here, first as you step on, lean into it, foot in the center, push your knee out a little bit to pre-activate your hip stabilizers, and then you brace your core and just gradually transition. If that feels okay, you can start adding some sort of movement up and then forward, and still balancing at the same time. Yeah, that's it. I usually find a lot of people very quick help with this one. They improve the stability fairly quickly, maybe twice a week, 1 minute of work in 2-3 sessions, massive improvement. So again, brain is trying to digest all of these challenges. Now the other way, instead of hip, it will be more focused on your ankles, so you can stay here, kind of balancing and allowing it to challenge you, and then eventually you figure it out where it goes, and then you start to be more proactive. And that just strengthens those muscles, but also the connection between the brain and those muscles, so you're more able to use it very practically. Like when you hike and you have an uneven surface, or when you walk, I'd say there will be a less risk you're gonna twist your ankle, because you'll be better off stabilizing it quickly. All right. So that's for the stabilization. Now, for the other block, I would use a resistance band. We have this actually from CX Works class, and it works a magic on the hip stabilizers. So in here, we quite find a 20-30 centimeters of non-stretched tube. You cross it over and then anchor your thumbs of your waistline. Then you can just lean to one side, slightly bend the knee and push it out, and then you just extend out diagonally. You can go sideways, diagonally, or back, or you can even step diagonally into a squat. So you have the lateral extension to work your abductors, and also you have here squat, which challenges especially your quad and your glute muscles. So again, supporting your knee, supporting your glutes, will support your back as well. So you can do these ones. Another example could be out, out, in, like so. Pushing your knees out. You can stay very low in this. You can see from the side. Another good one could be leaning in, lift, extend, lift, and down, up, out, up, and down. It's really good. You're gonna feel your hip flexors, but also these side glute muscles. So all of these combined with stretching, release techniques, and strengthening should get you feel better. See you later.